right now. I've seen all these crazy mock drafts already, which to me is ridiculous that people are actually doing mock drafts in December when you don't even know the order of the teams that are going to be picking. So,
of course,
but
it gives us something to debate.
I know. I don't really get involved with it. There's too much other things going on. But yeah, it's always fun to see a game. Especially if you're a fan of a team. I mean, it doesn't matter if your team's sitting there at 4-10 or whatever. Or, in the playoff hunt, NFL football's a fun game to watch, and you'll see, like you said, the debut of the Panthers quarterback Will Grier. From West Virginia. I followed West Virginia, having covered that team for years at one point, that football team. So, I kind of watch them a lot, or as much as I can. So he's pretty good, Will Grier. I like the career he had. I think he threw some interceptions, but a lot of college quarterbacks do. Doesn't mean he can't be successful in the NFL if he gets the right coaching, and we'll see if he's the guy going forward. For the Panthers, they have Cam Newton still sitting there. It'll be interesting to see what they do with him in the offseason. And the Colts have Jacoby Brissett. You wonder what the Colts are going to do at quarterback. I know you sent me a link to a story that said the Colts need a new quarterback, and it's hard for me to refute that. But you have to keep in mind. I think Brissett, didn't he have a knee injury during the season, cost him a few games?
He did.
So to me, somebody at your door, was that your doorbell?
No, I popped on the screen on my laptop, and those stupid pop-ups, they start playing, so I had to quickly mute my laptop. That's my fault. My bad.
No, that's okay. Yeah, I thought it was somebody was at the door bringing you. I thought it was Amazon Prime delivering you another package.
I got. What's going to happen one of these days? No, I was just saying, what's going to happen is one of these nights I'm going to be sitting at home just doing nothing, watching Netflix and drinking my bourbon, and the next day I'm going to start getting packages at the door. I'm going to be like, what the heck? Where'd this come from? Damn Amazon Prime, damn you! You knew exactly what I wanted when I wanted it. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I just want to say, the Eagles used to have a fullback named Owen Schmidt who played at West Virginia years ago, and him and I would talk in the locker room, and he would say the same thing. He would do a lot of drunk bidding on eBay. He would get drunk at the end of the night and go on eBay and bid on things. He goes, I got stuff showing up at my front door. I have no recollection of ordering. It just reminded me of that story.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah. But I was saying about Brissett, do the Colts need another quarterback? And I guess you could say they do, but he did have that MCL injury during the course of the year, and you don't know how that affects the player physically and mentally, how beat up he is with that injury, if he's not doing things differently mechanically to protect that injury, so you don't know how a quarterback deals with injuries like that. So, clearly he hasn't had the kind of year the Colts had hoped, or that he maybe had last year. So that's going to be a position they're going to really have to evaluate in the off season to see which direction they should go. I'm not sure you take spend a first round pick on a quarterback, but you might want to take one kind of high to bring in to kind of develop and maybe eventually win the job through training camp. That's probably, if I was in their shoes and Frank Reich, that's probably the way I'd approach it.
What are your thoughts about the Jacksonville Jaguars firing Tom Coughlin? Certainly a longtime legend within the NFL organization, and they thought they had gotten the diamond, if you will, the diamond in the rough when they hired him. But because he spoke out against the players' union, if you will, they said, yeah, see ya. What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, he was doing things kind of illegally. Yeah, Tom Coughlin. Yeah, I mean, he was kind of doing things illegally, really. I mean, he was finding guys for missing treatment when, in the CBA, they don't have to necessarily take treatment in the facility. So, he was kind of going against what the CBA states. And, there were a few Jaguar players that won cases against the Jaguars for fines and different punishments that they received because Coughlin was doing it wrong. And, it's probably the end of the line for Coughlin. He's older. I think he's around 70 years old, and he's definitely an old school guy. And, he really didn't do a whole lot with the Giants late in his career, too. It was kind of, to me, surprising when the Jaguars hired him. I know, he built that franchise in Carolina when the Carolina Panthers entered the league. He was instrumental in kind of getting them pointed in the right direction. And maybe he'll get into the Hall of Fame for that. But kind of late in his career here, he really hasn't distinguished himself very well. And I give credit to the owner of the Jaguars for firing him when he did. And I don't often give credit to the owner of the Jaguars because I think they're a misrun organization from the very top, which is him, the Coyne guy. I can't remember his first name. But I think they've just been kind of a misrun organization. But I give him credit for firing Coughlin. Coughlin deserved to get fired for some of the things he did there.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll talk about the games today, the games that matter. This first game up, the Texans and the Buccaneers. Today, I would have been rooting for the Buccaneers had the Colts been still alive because I needed the Texans and the Titans to split. Sorry, that's not going to happen. So AFC South, the Texans against the Buccaneers, and all the games today, I think, are games that really matter, and they're really playing for something. A lot of times when we get to this time of year, you have teams resting players. You got people who are just teams that just aren't given 100% because they know where they're at. But we have a lot of games today. We have a few games today that really matter, and this game, the Texans and the Buccaneers, really does matter because they have the Titans on their back end there.
Yeah, and the Bucks. You're familiar with Bruce Arians from his time in Indy. I mean, that guy.
Sure.
Oh yeah. Hey, I have a lot of respect for that guy and what he's done in every stop he's been in the NFL. Now look what he's doing with Jameis Winston. The Bucks have won 4 in a row, and we saw Bruce Arians help Carson Palmer turn his career around, and I think you're seeing it to an extent with Jameis Winston. And I know Winston's thrown a lot of interceptions. I think he's got 24 of them, which is nuts, but he's also thrown 30 touchdowns, which that's a lot. So I mean, he's kind of starting to turn Jameis Winston's career around, and I think you're going to have to, if you're the Bucks, you're going to have to look at what you're going to do with Winston. Are you going to put a franchise tag on him or a transition tag because his contract is up at the end of the season? So they're not going to let him walk out the door. They're going to do something with him. I don't think they'll extend him in a long-term deal, but they could put the franchise tag on him and let Arians continue to work with him. The Bucks are dangerous. 4 wins in a row. That, like you said, the Texans need to win. They had the big win last week against Tennessee, and they just can't afford to lay an egg now. Not with that division still kind of up for grabs, and a playoff spot even up for grabs. So, it's a big game, and it's going to be in Tampa, where it'll probably be warm. But it could be a shootout, and that could be a fun game to watch.
We got the Bills at the Patriots. It's never fun this in December to go play at New England. It's never fun to play in New England at home anyway. But we got the Bills and the Patriots. Bills have our what I would call our surprise team or our sleeper team of the year. A lot of people, when we started talking about the Bills at the beginning of the season, certainly didn't think we'd be talking about them in the way that we are now. They have the Patriots, but again, looking past today and next week, it's almost certain that the Ravens and the Patriots are going to meet each other on the battlefield. So what are your thoughts about the Patriots as we end off the season? And there's even been rumors that Tom Brady's ready to call it quits.
Well, I know how much you love the Patriots, Tom.
Yes, I love him. Love.
I know you do.
Sarcasm.
Exactly. Yeah, hit the sarcasm button. But the Buffalo Bills, if they win this game, I mean, they're going to have the same record as New England, and they're going to have split in the division. I don't know who, if the Bills win and then both teams win next week, I don't know who wins that division. I know the tiebreaker, the first one, is head-to-head, which, of course, they would be even. And then after that, it comes down to record within the division. I don't know what that is. And then after that, it's common opponents, record against common opponents. So I don't know. I mean, I think the Bills, if they win, could kind of steal this division from the Patriots. But they have to win, and that's the rub. I mean, I think they can win, but to do that, they're going to have to take care of the football. The Patriots are plus 24 in that takeaway giveaway department, which is crazy. They were plus 3 when they beat the Bills 16-10, I think it was, all the way back in week 4. So if the Bills can take care of the ball and get their quarterback Josh Allen to do just enough, and that defense is certainly good enough to keep Brady in check. And Brady, like you said, with retirement possibly, he's done a good job of keeping himself in check. He hasn't looked good. He's looked slow. He's looked inaccurate. But again, he doesn't have the weapons either. I mean, outside of Edelman, he really doesn't have a lot. I know they've got Mohamed Sanu in a trade, but he hasn't been as big a factor, I don't think, as the Patriots had hoped. And, he doesn't have Gronkowski anymore as security blanket. So Brady has looked very mortal. And at 42 years old, you wonder if he will hang it up. I think he should hang it up. But listen, I mean, that guy can play as long as he wants, as long as he feels he's effective, he's earned it. And to have him get back to that level, the Patriots would like to see. They're going to have to get him some weapons. They're going to have to go into the offseason and draft some guys, sign some guys as free agents, and keep them together through training camp and let them work together. It's going to be an interesting watch in New England this year to see exactly how it transpires. And they may be watching as a dethroned AFC East champion if the Bills can find a way to win and win next week. Again, I don't know what the tiebreaker situation would do, but maybe the Bills still have a chance to win this division if they can win today.
Well, and I would love to see Tom Brady retired. Would he look good in a gold jacket? I mean, I'm just thinking, let's get that jacket on him sooner than later.
Yeah.
Talking with Ed Kracz,
5 years, I think.
beat writer for. Yeah, man, I think it's 5 years. Yeah, certainly a first-round Hall of Famer, which is fun. Yeah. But at least we don't have to deal with him anymore. Ed Kracz, beat writer for the Philadelphia Eagles, SI.com, our official NFL contributor. One more game to talk about today, and that's the Rams and the 49ers. Again, games that really mean something out there on the West Coast. But, man, the 49ers, man, they're right there.
Yeah, they were coming off a really bad loss against the Falcons, a week ago. But, even the good teams stumble late, and that kind of maybe gives them some focus and say, hey, we got to redouble our efforts here and really buckle down. It's December. We got 2 games left. We want to head into the playoffs playing our best football, so let's put that loss behind us, chalk it up to just kind of a clunker and maybe a little bit of loss of focus because they were doing so well. And let's go out and beat the Rams. And I think they will. I think the Rams kind of, after what they did in Dallas last week, I think they kind of see that they really don't have much chance at a playoff spot. I know they're still kind of in the hunt, but they need the Vikings, who are one of the wild card teams right now, to lose. The Vikings already have 2 wins. The Rams have 8. So you need the Vikings to lose out. And, they play the Packers. I think it's Monday night. So the Vikings could certainly lose that game. But the Rams need a lot of help to get in, and I think they've kind of given up on that. They went to the Super Bowl last year. This has been a disappointing year for them. And I think the 49ers will kind of get back to business. I think they just chalk up that loss last week to just, a game that they let get away. They didn't focus well enough, and I think they'll get back on track. I think the 49ers, to me, in an NFC that's pretty crowded with good teams, I think they're the best team in the NFC, and I expect them to get on track tonight against the Rams.
Well, absolutely. Ed Kracz, beat writer for the Philadelphia Eagles. Thank you so much, Ed, for joining us. What's any big plans for the Christmas? Is your kids at home? What's going on?
Well, my son, I pick him up at the airport tonight. He flies in from Alabama on a night flight, so I'm going down to the Philly airport to grab him, and then we'll just kind of hang out. Tomorrow's a busy day for me. Obviously, the Cowboys are in town, so I'll be busy with that game. But, then after that, just kind of trying to kick back and spend some time with him, my daughters, my wife, and get as much family time as possible because, you know how quick it goes, Tom. And,
I know.
Once they move out, yeah. So you kind of take these times and you try to, cherish them and make as much out of them as you can. That's kind of my goal. It's just, plenty of good family time these next few days.
So your son's not turning into a Roll Tide guy, is he, now that he's down there in Birmingham? Is he?
Yeah, he might be more a War Eagle guy. He might be more with the Tide. He's right in the middle between Alabama and Auburn. And actually, you know what? He's been to a couple of UAB games, to tell you the truth. There in his backyard is the campus of Alabama Birmingham, and they're in a bowl game. They're playing in the New Orleans Bowl. I don't know when, but UAB had a pretty nice season. They canceled their program for a while, and They brought it back and they built it up to the point where I think